Welcome, everyone. My name is Shawn Jones, and I'm the CEO of the iNetrapreneur Network. And today I have an incredible individual who is helping others navigate their careers, who help them achieve great leadership skills through tools and resources. She helps make an impact in lives across the globe. She is the owner of Optimized Career Solutions. I have with me Kara Dennison. Welcome.
Thanks, Shawn. I'm so excited to be here.
So, Kara, before we dive into what you do to make a change and help others achieve their greatest success, I am a strong believer that it's always the starting point to get to know the person before the business. So share with the world a little bit about who Kara is.
Ooh, wow. It's a deep question, Shawn.
I know.
So who is Kara Dennison? Well, it all started in a day. Now, so I am an entrepreneur. I'm an executive career coach. And really my story starts when I had a really exciting career in human resources. I loved everything that I did in human resources, recruiting, training, leadership development. And I did some incredible things there. And really, me personally, for my personal life, I'm married. I am married to my love of my life, Jack. He and I run our business together, and we have 2 cats, and we live in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee, and that was on design, which I'm happy to get into. But I ended up quitting my job in human resources and starting this business for a couple of different reasons. One is because it turned toxic. My job turned toxic after a while, and it ended me in the hospital. And I don't want that for anyone else. When they think about their dream careers, I want them to feel excited, impactful, and aligned in their jobs. And also, as a corporate recruiter, I really realized that the traditional hiring process is a broken one, and it leaves candidates really feeling frustrated and stuck in their jobs. And so I wanted to really teach people on how to land their dream jobs. So that brings me to right now.
And your business is Optimized Career Solutions, and you've been in HR. So you have met over time individuals with a variety of backgrounds, with a variety of skill sets. Some have, numerous degrees. Some are just entering their workforce, and they're starting to build their credentials, if you will. But at the end, I'm sure you've noticed that people get to a certain point that what they thought they wanted in their career path no longer serves them. Mm-hmm. What is it that you have helped? Just kind of give us some insight as to why clients come to you, or better yet, when you were still working in human resources, or when you were working for someone, what were some of the challenges people would come to you and say, I can no longer do this?
Yeah, I mean, that happens all the time, right? It's so fascinating the way that society has kind of set us up for our lives, right? So you tell someone at 18, go to college, pick what you want to do for the rest of your life, pay a buttload of money, and then set yourself up for this path in life. When in reality, our brains haven't even finally developed at that stage. And we as people haven't even developed at that stage. And a quick overview of my career, I graduated with a dual major in management and marketing, which has served me well now as an entrepreneur, but I also graduated at the height of the recession in 2008 rather, my goodness. And that was a really terrible time, just as I'm sure a lot of people graduating now in the pandemic are probably feeling a lot of struggle. And I didn't use my degrees. I went into a lot of different fields. I opened my own wedding photography business. I went into retail, finance, customer service, tech. before I even ended up in HR, which is where I first felt aligned. And then it didn't feel aligned after a while. So a lot of things can happen to make you want to change or pivot your career path, whether it's the company that you once was a dream, maybe they had leadership changes or their company mission, vision changed, and now you're no longer aligned, or maybe you just grew, changed, had a different path, something happened in your life, and now you're ready to go and do something different, and you're sitting in the same place that was a great fit for you maybe a couple of years ago, and it just isn't anymore. And a lot of things, if you take anything away from this video, if you're watching right now, is it's okay to change. It's okay to adapt. It's okay to pivot. A lot of times where people get stuck is they don't know how. They don't know how to pivot. And that's
it could be, and I'm going to jump in here because it can be scary to pivot, if you will, you know, because everybody wants stability. There is nobody out there that says, I do not want stability. No, we all want that. We want to feel safe and secure and have that stability. But sometimes the cost of having that stability outweighs our health, our happiness. It compromises our family. It compromises our life. And so then we find ourselves in a situation where I need to figure me out. I don't feel like this is where I need to be. And you help people, you talk to them. When clients come to you, let's say they've been in their fields and they're looking at making that change. Because let's focus on that. A lot of people right now, because of the COVID, they've either been affected by losing jobs, or they decided that even their companies that they had, like yourself, you owned a wedding business, wedding planning, it no longer was you. You wanted something different. So how do you help clients make that big change from one profession over to another?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you've been alive in the last pandemic, you probably heard the term the Great Recession. And a lot of that Great Recession is not only companies doing a lot of those layoffs or furloughs, et cetera, but it's also a lot of people just waking up and realizing, I only have one of these lives. I'm not happy. What am I doing? And I want to make a change. And just like you mentioned, it is okay to make these changes, but a lot of times change is scary. No matter how many times you cut it, change is going to be scary. And so we far too often hold ourselves back from what we really want because we don't know how to make that change. So that's where I come in and where I help. So a lot of the times you either know exactly what you want to do, or the scarier part where people are stuck and they stay stagnant where they are is they know they don't like what they're doing and they just want to make a change, but they don't know what. So a lot of times in the job search, people fall into this trap of setting themselves up as either a jack or Jill of all trades, and then they go out and try and just fish for anything. I'm going to cast the widest net as long as I get any job just to get out of here. Unfortunately, that does you a disservice in your job search because of the fact that decision makers are going to get very confused as to what you're going after. So I always recommend when you're starting a job search, get very crystal clear on what the next step is in your career. And I'll talk about how to do that in a second. And then brand yourself towards that next step. It's going to eliminate confusion for you. It's going to eliminate confusion for decision makers. And it's going to take all of your energy and focus you down that one path that you're excited about. So how do you get crystal clear on what you want to do in the next step in your career? I have you do an exercise. You draw 2 circles on a piece of paper in a Venn diagram. In the first circle, I have you write everything that you are great at. Like amazing, your friends, your family, your boss, your coworkers, they come to you because you're the subject matter expert at these things. And they can be tasks, they can be projects, they can be all of the amazing things that you are just great at. Just free flow talk. And if you don't, or write it down. And if you don't know, start asking those types of people. Look at your performance reviews, ask coworkers that you trust, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your spouse, whatever. Ask those people. The next circle, I want you to write everything that you love to do. When you go into work, these are the tasks you tackle first, or you say to the end of the day, whatever works for you, right? That you really love to do. The part in the middle is the things that overlap. This is going to help get you clarity on the types of jobs or the path that you're going to want to really go down. And this is the hardest part for people, is getting clarity. Once you kind of know what those tasks are of things that you're really good at doing and that you love doing, is try and then start finding job descriptions posted somewhere that kind of match up to these types of things. And you're going to get very clear on what you should be doing next.
Mhm. And it's okay to have more than one, this is me, this is what I enjoy. Now, when you have a client like that, maybe they have, I always call it the two personas. Both are equally great and wonderful, and they excel in both, but they can be polar opposites, right? Is it a one size resume fits all? Do you create multiple resumes? When somebody hires you, do you walk them through, this is how I'm going to market you because you have 2 or 3 different areas that are, competing with each other or opposites, however you look at it. How do you design for that person?
So like I said, we have you pick your path. The reason being is that a lot of times, like I said, people get into this habit of, I'm going to try and either set myself up as a jack of a Jill of all trade, or I'm going to have multiple resumes for the different paths and I'm going to go down it. Now you're splitting your energy 50-50 down these 2 paths. And the other thing is now you have 2 different resumes floating out there on the job boards and to decision makers, and it gets very confusing. The other key critical part here is that you only get one LinkedIn profile. Your LinkedIn profile these days is becoming more critical than your resume. And so I want to, when I'm branding a client of mine, is I really want to make sure that we pick the path that makes the most sense. And in our unlimited coaching program, we do that on the first session. And we do that by doing some mindset exercises to really get crystal clear on what my clients want out of life. A lot of time, high achievers, they fall into this trap of designing their life around their job. And instead, we want to reverse engineer that and find the job that will fit into the life that they really want. And so we do that first, and then we pick the path that will afford them the life that they want. And then we brand them as that expert industry leader on their LinkedIn profile and their resume. And once we finalize that, what we do from there is we get them off the job boards. So instead of doing this, I'm going to apply to 100 applications over and over again and hope someone calls me back, we get them off the job boards and we start having them find their dream companies, the decision makers at those dream companies, and we teach them how to network effectively with the people who can actually help and hire them at those companies.
Mm-hmm. You brought up job boards. I remember when Monster was just coming out, and they had some that were just starting, and a lot has changed over the last several years. How would you describe the job boards? I mean, it's all AI technology, and somebody can have a perfect resume on paper, but when they submit to what they're qualified for, those automated systems are still passing them over.
Yeah.
What is your take on those job boards?
So those automated systems are called applicant tracking systems. I know about them because I implemented one at my last company. And here's the unfortunate thing, and why I call the traditional hiring process a broken process, is because there's a lot of things at play here. You only really have, if your only strategy is to take your resume and apply, even if you have the best resume in the world, and I think ours are pretty good, but even if you take the best resume in the world and start applying over and over and over again, you only have about a 2 to 3% chance of landing an interview if that's your only strategy. So here's the reason why. Those applicant tracking systems, they scan your resume for keywords to match the job description. But if you take a step further and go a little bit higher, here's what's happening in the job search process or the hiring process, is those job descriptions are created by recruiters or people in the HR department. They're typically not created by the decision maker. So those recruiters are usually creating those job descriptions to be a marketing document for the purple squirrel or the unicorn. So if you have 10 bullet points on that job description, the recruiter and the hiring manager is knowing that if they can find a candidate that matches between 6 to 7 of those bullet points, then they know it's going to be a great candidate that has potential to grow into that role. Candidates, however, they see 10 bullet points and they think, I don't meet all 10 of these bullet points, I'm going to take myself out. But if you meet all 10 of these bullet points, you're overqualified. So there's a mismatch there. So now people who are applying and the recruiters are getting this are either overqualified, or you get those candidates who are just spamming the job boards and things like that. Mm-hmm. So now recruiters are overwhelmed with resumes that don't match, because what they're looking for is that perfect match in between that isn't applying because of either fear and mindset, etc. So a lot of times what happens, if that's your strategy to get in and you happen to get in with a recruiter, now you have to explain to the recruiter why you can solve the challenges of the hiring manager. And if you get to the hiring manager, so many times what the hiring manager actually wants is not accurate to the job description. So you can see, as the more I talk about this, that process of applying, it's such a broken process because there's so many ways to mess up or fail in getting your dream job by going through this, because you have to fight robots, you have to fight recruiters who don't understand your value, and all of this other stuff. So wouldn't it be so much easier as if you just had a phone call conversation with a decision maker and ask them, what are your problems? What are your goals? What are your challenges? Great. Here's how I solved those challenges in the past. Here's how I've met those similar goals. When do I get started?
I love it.
Right?
There were easier times of trying to find employment, and nowadays it is a little bit more cumbersome. And that's why you have your company. You and your husband have started this to help people navigate their career paths and, really find happiness and joy in their life. It's not just a job. I mean, that's great if that's all you want is just a job, but you're doing a lot more. Share with us a little bit about optimized career solutions. Do you have coaching packages? Do you have, are you employer paid fees? When you find somebody their job, does that employee pay you to find it? How does this work?
Sure. So we are coaches. So we are the candidate or the job seeker invests in us. So what we do is we have a couple of different packages. We have a complete DIY package where you can buy my course. And in that course, we have our resume templates. We have all of our strategies. And when I say DIY, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. So I want to make sure you have everything in order to make sure that you have a strategic job search. I've got strategies, scripts, templates, checkers, all of the things. I even have a resignation letter template in there so that you can quit your job. I've got everything. And what we cover in all of our packages is the 5 key main aspects of a strategic job search: mindset, branding, resume, and LinkedIn, getting directly connected to decision makers, networking and interviewing effectively, and salary negotiation. So we have all of that in our course. The next step up from that is we're going to give you the course so you have the strategies to go out and get your job, but we're going to go ahead and take care of your resume and LinkedIn, because writing about yourself is so difficult, right? And then the next step up from that is our unlimited coaching program. So when I say unlimited, I mean unlimited. You get twice weekly group calls, twice weekly open office hours, and unlimited one-on-one sessions with myself and my husband, Jack. My husband, Jack, is our mindset and accountability coach, and we want to make sure that we are with you every step of the way until you get your offer. And we do everything with mindset and strategy, interview prep, mock interview sessions. And this is really to accelerate your job search and keep you accountable to achieving that dream job as soon as possible. We just took a testimonial video of someone today who got her dream job and $30,000 more within 60 days. So we really want to make sure that people are going out and living their dream life. And it starts with your career, because your job funds your life,
That's incredible. Kara, how can somebody get in touch with you and your husband, Jack, to schedule a consultation or a discovery session to find out more about optimized career solutions?
Absolutely. We have free consultations with myself or my husband, Jack, at schedule.optimizedcareersolutions.com.
Kara, I want to thank you so much for sharing what you're doing to help improve the lives of others and will help them to achieve their greater life on many levels. I appreciate you for all that you and Jack are doing, and thank you for being here today.
It was a pleasure. It's always so great to talk to you, Sean.
For those of you who have just watched Kara Dennison, her and her husband Jack own Optimized Career Solutions. Kara will also be one of the expert speakers at the upcoming Art of Connection Global Summit happening on March 31st. You can not only hear more from Kara when she's on stage, you can ask her direct questions from the audience, and you can even experience several of her workshops that she'll be hosting that day. For more information and to talk to Kara directly, go to artofconnectionsummit.com.